Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So obviously by the title, you guys can tell that we're going to be talking about the 2-week wait symptoms after IVF transfer. So let me just start off by saying that obviously this is going to be different for every single person, from person to person. It's also going to be different depending on like how you did your IVF, if you did like a frozen embryo transfer or, you know, a natural transfer. And even so, if you have like a 5-day embryo, 6-day embryo, or etc. I don't know all about that. This is just my personal experience on what my symptoms were after my transfer. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashley Nicole. I make videos about infertility, motherhood, pregnancy, and some home improvement and decor videos as well. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you always know when I have new videos coming up. So I am currently 32 weeks pregnant from our IVF frozen embryo transfer. We transferred a 5-day embryo. I don't remember exactly like the numbers and letters that it was. If you guys want to know about that, you can just message me and I'll like look it up for you guys. But we did do a frozen embryo transfer. And obviously I was on a lot of hormonal medications because I was doing the IVF transfer, and I was on progesterone just to make sure that my uterine lining was thick and everything. I do have videos for all IVF information and like what kind of injections I was doing, but these can definitely contribute to all the symptoms. I mean, like for me, when I was on progesterone, I always felt hungry and I always felt super bloated. So these are probably a huge part of like my symptom list because I was still on the injections. Again, this is the 2-week wait during IVF. So I guess we're all kind of experiencing the same thing. So I basically went through all my symptoms from day of transfer all the way up until 20 days, I believe. So I'm going to start going through those with you guys right now. And they are on my phone, so that's why I'll be looking down. Okay, so the first day, which was transfer day, I did have minor left side cramping. This, I am told, is normal because obviously that is the area that they put the embryo. So it's normal if you're going to be disrupting the uterus in any way to feel a little bit of cramping. And they did actually put it right on the uterus. It was pretty cool. We actually got to see it happen on the screen when they transferred the embryo. So that is all I experienced from that day. And I didn't really experience anything for a couple more days because the next thing I have is the 3rd day. The 3rd day I wrote down that I felt nauseous and had heart palpitations. Now, of course, remember, I'm writing down every single symptom. So some of these may not be pregnancy related whatsoever, but I wanted to bring you guys along the experience. I know this video is overdue, but I did write these all down when we did our transfer. So I just want to go through them with you guys because if you're feeling anything the same, I know how I was. You want to go online, you want to feel like somebody else is feeling the same that you are. I've definitely had negative pregnancy tests when I feel pregnancy symptoms, so I know how crushing that can be. So take this with a grain of salt. You know, my first pregnancy after my IUI, I had 0 symptoms. Literally the only thing I'd say I had was the day that I found out I was pregnant. I actually just felt like I had a cold coming on. Other than that, leading up to it, 0, nothing. Literally felt like a normal person. And then all the times before that for like a year and a half, I literally thought I was pregnant every single month and I wasn't. So I get it. I totally get what you're going through. I do. So on day 4, it says cramby. What? I'm assuming I meant crampy. Crabby? Oh, crummy. That's what it says. I wrote these down really quickly so I wouldn't forget, but anyway, so it says on day 4 post-transfer that I was feeling a little bit crummy and under the weather. So this maybe started getting me a little excited that I might be pregnant just because, like I said, with my daughter and the IUI pregnancy, I did feel a little bit under the weather. And also on that 4th day, it looks like I was feeling a little bit of nickel taste in my mouth, which I've heard is a symptom, just that or like tasting of blood in your mouth. I know that's kind of gross. I don't know, it's like an iron level thing or something, but regardless, that's what I was kind of feeling. Okay, so the 5th day, I do remember this. I actually felt super thirsty and like a lot of heartburn, like my throat really, really burnt. I wasn't 100% sure if that was like a symptom or anything, or if I had just eaten something like weird. You know, you're always like kind of second guessing yourself. But then the following day, which is the 6th day, and I want to say that's 6 days after transfer, or maybe like 5 days after transfer. because at one point I got a little bit confused as to how I was counting. So maybe it was the 5th day after transfer and I counted transfer day as first day as the symptoms, or it was the 6th day after transfer. So sorry about that. It might be a discrepancy about 24 hours. Anyways, but on the 6th day is actually the day that I took a pregnancy test. I know it's super early and I don't recommend you doing that. Honestly, I probably recommend everybody waiting until their beta test, which is their blood test that confirms their pregnancy. And that is basically what the doctor suggests, just because it can be really hard to see that negative test. And I know just as much as you do, if you're suffering through infertility, seeing those negative pregnancy tests, it can be pretty heart-wrenching. So I knew and I was prepared to see a negative pregnancy test and get like completely gut-wrenched. So if you don't want to experience that, just wait until the blood test. You know, at least this way it's going to be like 100% accurate. But anyway, I did decide to like go ahead and take an internet cheapie test. And I think I also took... Okay, I took a digital and I also did an internet cheapie one. So, you know, the little ones that are just like stripes that come with ovulation kits as well, for the pregnancy test side. And that day I was feeling dizzy and nauseous. So I was really hoping for a positive. I felt like I had a decent amount of symptoms, and obviously I already knew that there was actually an embryo implanted. So I was a little bit more hopeful with IVF than I was with IUI, just because with IUI you don't know if like you created an embryo or it implanted. But regardless, I was so happy to have that positive pregnancy test. I do have that in my video where it's a live pregnancy test that I end up having positive. So I will link that up above so that you guys can see that if you want to. If not, obviously this is more for the symptoms for you guys. Definitely you don't have to check that out, but I still want to go through all the rest of the symptoms that I was having after this, so that you guys can kind of like gauge if you're thinking of holding out until your beta test, or if you're thinking like, okay, I don't want to test on day 6, I want to test on like day 8, 9, or 10, or like, you know, something that is like specific to you. Some people like to test on certain days. I know that I did. I was always trying to test like 6 days after. So then let's see, 7th day. This is very bloated and a little crappy on the left side. I literally can't spell. Okay, on the 7th day, it says I was a little crampy on the left side. So sorry again, to recap, I was bloated, a little crampy on the left side of my uterus, and very hungry. And then on the 8th day, I was bloated, which was Christmas Eve. So some could just say that that attributes to all the holiday food I was probably eating. But yeah, I was a little bloated on Christmas Eve. This was all around the holidays. And then on the 9th day, I think by this time we had already heard from the doctor's office. I can't remember when my beta was. If I do, I'll write it down here somewhere. When the actual confirmation was, when I did the blood test to see how my HCG levels were. But on the 9th day, I was starting to feel quite a bit of pregnancy symptoms. I felt like really nauseous when I smelled lobster that we were having for Christmas dinner. And then I also felt like I had a cold coming on, so I was starting to feel a little bit uneasy. Moving on to the 10th and the 11th day, I was just feeling pretty much like the same, bloated, really tired, but a little bit more emotional. I do remember, obviously, it was around the holidays, so we're all a little bit emotional around the holidays, but by that time I was definitely feeling it. Okay, on the 12th day, this might be a little bit TMI, and I think is just related to, like I said before, the injections, but I was constipated, so I definitely felt just super bloated and uncomfortable. And the following day, I was still constipated, but I now started to get migraines. For me in my first trimester, I usually get a lot of headaches. So this is just kind of when they started. I started getting migraines. I was a little bit nauseous, nothing like a big deal. I actually never got fully nauseous in my pregnancy, which is great. So I was happy about that. But on the 14th day, again, this is a little bit TMI, but I want to share this part with you guys just because I got really worried on the 14th day because I had a little bit of brown discharge. So I must have called my office probably, I don't know, a million times, because when I got that brown discharge, I got really worried that like maybe I wasn't keeping the pregnancy. And they said that it's fine as long as it's brown, because it means it's old blood, and it kind of makes sense that that would be happening, that it's totally normal, which I still didn't feel like it was normal. So I did check up with them anytime I felt like it changed. They said as long as it wasn't like a lot or passing clots or like basically having like red tinged underwear or like pads, they did say that it was normal. And this actually happened to me twice, maybe even 3 times throughout the first trimester. But once again, I always checked with my doctor. So even if I'm saying, hey, they said it was normal, that doesn't mean you shouldn't check with your doctor. I would call your doctor for every single little thing because you never know what it is. I definitely have had instances where like I called, I thought it was nothing, and I ended up having like a bladder infection and was having contractions. So like definitely always call your doctor no matter what, because that is what they're there for. So the 15th day, I already didn't have any more discharge. I felt normal that day. And then on the 16th day, I did start to get a little bit of breast tenderness. Anyway, my nipples started to hurt, so they started to get pretty tender. And then I was tired and my sense of smell was insane. All right, so I just have 4 more days. So the 17th day, like I said, I always get headaches in my first trimester. I was exhausted and I had headaches. I do have a toddler from my IUI pregnancy, and I definitely think that contributed to the exhaustion, obviously, because I'm running around for her. So again, these are all symptomatic, but they also happen to do with my daily life. And by this point, I had stopped injections already though, so it was definitely just a combination of my daily life and pregnancy. Okay, so the 18th day, I had a little bit of tender breast, and then I also had some cramping, and I was seeing my doctor pretty regularly, so I did let them know that I was cramping. Again, they said that that was normal, so I felt okay. Although that being said, all these days I was very nervous, even more so than with my daughter in my IUI pregnancy. Every single symptom made me really scared. So I think that's just like part of our journey. It's difficult. You want it to work so badly. So I completely understand if like every symptom you're feeling is not like the best feeling in the world, because sometimes we're like, we can't wait to feel nauseous and we can't wait to, you know, actually experience these things because we want it so bad, but we also get really scared when we actually have symptoms and that they might mean something else. So I get that, and that's one of the hard parts of dealing with infertility. One amongst many. Okay, so the last 2 are the 19th day. I had cramps and was hungry, emotional, and again in a bad mood. Definitely had a lot of mood swings in the beginning, but yeah, I definitely still had cramps, and again, they had told me it was fine, so I didn't call them again that day or see them again. And then the 20th day, I felt hungover and hungry. So this is kind of how like the rest of my pregnancy progressed. I usually feel hungover and like I have a migraine and I feel hungry. So I kind of just stopped all of the symptoms after that, because of the fact that this is kind of just how it is. A combination of all my symptoms, and some days are just normal. Okay, as a little extra, I guess I did also write down my 6th week symptoms of pregnancy, and I don't know if you guys want to know those, so you can skip on through this part, but at 6 weeks it says I was peeing a lot, pregnancy insomnia, couldn't fall asleep, tender nipples, tender breasts, emotional, again had lots of mood swings, exhausted in the morning and at night, also had night sweats. I think the night sweats might have been from progesterone, but then I also seemed like I was having cramps, period, like some brown discharge. Like I said, that did happen to me twice in the first trimester, and then heartburn. So basically all the symptoms that I was feeling in those first 2 weeks, they kind of just like amplified a little bit towards those 6 weeks of pregnancy. And that's about it. I think after that I kind of just recorded all the rest of the trimesters, which I won't share with you today. Maybe I'll do another video of that if you're interested. I really hope that this video helped you guys at least, you know, made your journey a little bit easier. If you have any questions, make sure just to leave them in the comments down below, or follow me on Instagram, and you can always DM me there. And as always, mamas, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.